Welcome to Film Strip. These podcasts are spoiler-filled as we discuss the plots, characters, and themes of the films in review. All content used or discussed in these podcast episodes is the property of the respective owners and used under the Fair Use Act, Section 504(c)(2), Title 17.
Welcome to Film Strip. I'm Lindsey.
I'm Ron.
I'm Jay.
And we are here to karate chop our way through these mean sewers and streets with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles circa 1990. Starring Judith Hoag, Elias Koteas, Jay Patterson, Raymond Stearns, James Dado, David Foreman, Martin P. Robinson, Leif Tilden, David Redman, Ernie Reyes Jr., Reggie Barnes, Josh Pius, David Greenaway, Ken Troom, Michaelan Sisti, Mac Wilson, Kevin Clash, Ricky Boyd, Robert Tigner. Hang on, everyone. We're almost there. And the voice talents of Brian Tochi, Joshi Pice, Corey Feldman, Robbie Rist, Kevin Clash, and David McCarran. Based on characters created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, written by Todd W. Langan and Bobby Herbeck, directed by Steve Barron. That might be the longest list of names.
In 15 plus years, I think that takes the cake.
Ever had to read. Thanks for sticking me with that one.
And you didn't even, and Lindsay, you didn't even mention Sam Rockwell.
Yeah,
And
or
Sam Rockwell.
Scott Wolf's in this. Skeet Ulrich.
Oh,
yeah, no,
so
we could have a lot
many.
of people. Yeah.
So many. Well, I got to start with everyone's background on this. You guys know a teeny bit about mine. We'll get to mine. Jay, let's start with you. What's your background with this movie?
I'd never seen it all the way through before until we watched it for this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just missed me as a kid. Like, by the time the cartoon came out and by the time this came around, I had, moved on to other stuff. And my, younger friends and younger cousins and stuff like that were, into this and, would wear the stuff, and I would see it around. I was aware of it, but I just never watched it. And, real shock. I'm not a big Corey Feldman fan, so that was no draw for me to watch this. And so I just missed. I'd never seen it, and I again was aware of it. I've never seen any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing, until watching it for this review. But I did watch it twice because I wanted to make sure I got it. And I feel like I could have just watched it once and got it, but twice gave me a different perspective on it. But I'm the newbie here, so which is always fun because I don't get to play that role very much. So
Nice. Yeah, usually I'm the newbie. Not on this one. Ron, what's your background with this?
Oh, dude. Well, faithful viewer of the original cartoon series, the 1987 one. Saw this in the movie theater. Saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 in the movie theater. Went to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Were Coming Out of Our Shelves live show.
wow.
Wow.
Were you buying the cereal too? Because that's a different level.
Bought the cereal, bought the delicious Hostess green ooze filled fruit pies, which bring those back.
Oh my god.
Did you go as a Ninja Turtle for Halloween at least once?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Oh.
But I did take martial arts classes. I did have some of those foam wrapped hardback nunchucks to learn nunchuck skills. And at the local science museum in 1988, they had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza party that I went to and ate 10 pieces of pizza because I've always been a fat person. And I was like, I'm gonna make the most of this. And the kid sitting across from me was just kept matching me piece for piece. I was like, no, I'm going to kill you. You don't know who you're messing with.
You were having a kung fu off on pizza with a kid.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So yeah, well, needless to say, this is very familiar. I think I even had the soundtrack tape.
Nice.
Cassette tape. So
now, real quick, because I had misremembered something just from pop culture osmosis. The Vanilla Ice song is from the second one, right?
The Vanilla Ice song is from the second one,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Okay.
also the one where Kevin Nash makes his big screen debut as Super Shredder.
Okay, so I don't know that we'll ever get around to the second one, but I'm just here by demanding that one day we do the Vanilla Ice Cool as Ice movie just so we can talk about the phrase drop the zero, get with the hero. Because I could spend a day on that, but
Not only do I want us to do Cool as Ice, I would love for us to do Turtles too.
I'd be
well,
down for that.
maybe that's a good pairing then, because they probably live in the same
Yeah,
universe.
yeah. Bring that up with Schlock and all, Lindsay, and
Okay.
We'll bring her on for that. There we go. Yeah. So she has me pair things like, Inception and the Third Man or whatever. And then come
yeah,
on, do
you get to
two
pair
and
classy shit. I need to go in there and ruin her format like I ruined the format
I
of
think she goes for
Tis
all
the
of it.
Podcast.
I think she goes for all of that stuff. I really so. But now, Lindsay, this is like I know you've been waiting to tell us this for a little bit. So what is your background on this?
I, much like Ron, was a viewer of the cartoon and also of the movie right when it came out. We had I didn't get to go to all the cool science museum stuff that Ron sounds like got to go to, but we did have the really epic pizza shooter Ninja Turtle like toy that like launched tiny plastic pizza discs that were about an inch and a half wide
Oh,
just
that
across the room, and
we didn't
naturally we
protect
shot them at
children.
each other
Of course.
all the time. Yeah, we had the action figures. I never went as a Ninja Turtle for Christmas. I don't think I did. But my brother definitely did. I may have one year when I was little. But yeah, I've watched this movie so many times. I still watch it pretty regularly. I would say at least once a year it comes up, but Jay, I mentioned this to you. This movie is my Roman Empire. It lives rent free in my brain all the time. I quote it. No one ever knows when I do because, well, Ron might, but no one ever knows when I do. And there was a really funny moment when I was moving, and Brian, my now husband, who was we had like just started dating, and we were moving, and I had a bat or something, and I grabbed it and I just went, "Is that a Jose Canseco bat?" He looked at me like I was the most insane person he'd ever met. And he was like, "What? What did you just say?" And I was like, "It's a quote from Ninja Turtles. Don't it's
I
I'll
think
make
by
you
now, like anything would default to like, is this some movie y'all review?
I'll I'll make you watch it someday." And as it happens, that day was last Friday when I was watching it to prep for this. So
That's that. Well, I would have to hear his thoughts on it via
yeah.
you. So
What did he say when he heard it? Because I said, "This line's coming up in this movie." And he just looked at me afterwards and he goes, and then I retold the story that he, I guess, didn't remember. But I did, quoting that. And again,
it's
Roman
awesome.
Empire, I think about it all the time. And every time I ever quote it, I think about that too. And he just looks at me and goes, "You are such a special blend of genetics." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if genetics had anything to do with that, but appreciate it. I
It's a special
appreciate
blend
it."
of pop culture genetics for sure.
I did grow up quoting movies nonstop. My dad does it, my brothers do it, so I'm
See,
sure.
you were destined to be on this show.
I was.
That's me and Ron have grown
I
up doing
was.
that.
I
And we've
was.
we've annoyed the same woman at different times in our lives for doing that, his wife. So
But no, I do love this movie though, and I feel like every remake of
Mhm.
this that people have tried to accomplish will just never ever be
I
the same for me. This is
yeah.
always going to be the original. I don't think you can ever,
Well, I mean, I know we kind of getting away from talking about box office stuff on the show, and that's fine. But I mean, this was a massive hit. This made $200 million for like a $14 million budget, which was a lot of money in 1990, and a lot of it was spent on the Henson Muppet creation, factory. We can talk about that. But I mean, this thing was huge. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a spawn of a franchise that already existed, but then it just got bigger after this.
Yeah. I mean, it really was. It felt like a shared cultural phenomenon when I think back on it. Because even now, when
Yeah.
I talk about the pizza shooter van, so many people know, oh, yeah, I had that. And, the
Yeah.
little turtle action figures and,
I
you know,
think now that you say that, that is my like closest memory to this was Domino's. Because when we got a
yeah,
Domino's in Florence, that was a big deal. And
yeah.
the marketing was all, it was either the Noid or it was the Ninja Turtle. And I didn't really get that until now having watched this. I'm like, oh, it's like the product placement in this movie.
The
Okay.
product placement is prime in this. Like they went hard. They had to get that money from somewhere.
Yeah, right. So that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, before we get too far into it, I hear that ChatGPT wrote a plot summary for this. Can you take us through
Yeah,
it?
I'll just kind of throw it out there and we'll see how it goes because I'm sure we'll walk through this a little more. So there's like if you go 3 or 4 blocks down from where Jason Voorhees is taking over Manhattan, four mutated reptilian brothers trained by a rat sensei in the art of ninjutsu live in the sewers of New York and they order pizza randomly. And these turtles, led by Leonardo, are Raphael, the brains Donatello, ironically voiced by Corey Feldman, and the funny Michelangelo. And they emerge to fight crime. And they befriend a tenacious news reporter, April O'Neil, and a tough-talking vigilante named Casey Jones, who's better watch his speed, and April gets fired for her job because she's good at it, which is not how reporters get fired. But anyway, Turtles are pitted against the Evil Foot Clan, which is not a podiatry convention, but a group of teenage thieves and martial artists, led by their arch nemesis, the sinister Shredder, who faced off against Splinter's sensei years ago. We'll talk about it. But under their orders, they get more and more powerful, and the Turtles have to retreat to April O'Neil's apartment. And there's a lot of back and forth and some goofy stuff, but after a grueling battle that leaves Splinter captured and Raphael injured, the Turtles are forced to regroup. And then, aided by Casey, they all flee to recover. And after a short period of training, they return to New York City and they go up against the Foot Clan. And Shredder goes down in epic fashion because that's how bad guys go down in these kind of movies. And they rescue Splinter, defeat Shredder, restore peace to the city, and order some more za. And that's kind of my JPT plot summary of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think we'll get into it as we go.
That
Okay,
might have been shorter than the cast list.
yeah, I think that was. But before we get into the actual movie, Jay, you inspired me with your song reference.
Oh,
Would you like me to sing a song
please. Please do. Please
for
do.
everyone? All right.
Please.
By all means.
Drive a trash truck, don't give a fuck. Casey Jones, you better kill some teens, smashing their heads, kicking behind. Don't you know that pizza is still on your mind? There we go.
Very good.
Jerry
I,
Garcia is rolling over in his grave so hard they've hooked him up as an alternative energy source right now.
his ghost is so high he doesn't care. I demand from now on like more Ron songs if we're gonna do JPT as the plot summary. And Lindsay's got to get in the songs too because of
Right.
all the actually talented musical
Yeah. Maybe I'll break out the old accordion at some point.
Please, please do.
Oh,
I
man,
can't
that would
wait.
be-
I Shocktober, I demand an accordion song.
All right, I'll have to practice. I'll have to practice a little bit, but I'll ask and ye shall receive.
That
We'll come
sounds
up
like
with
you're trying.
something.
That sounds epically good. So, wow.
Yeah,
So
I was
where
like,
does-
Jay, I know. Well, you're the noob. This
Mhm.
I feel like I've lived and breathed this film for so long.
So-
I'm so interested to hear your thoughts on this.
I mean, I think the thing that I want to know, because I'm not as familiar with it as you two are, is like how I don't know. I guess closely does this hew to the source material? I don't know the source material, so like, give me a little bit of background on that because I don't know it.
Well, um, the source material is basically, well, if you want to go back to the comic book, it's Eastman and Laird wanted to make fun of Daredevil. So they had this
As
Teenage
if that
Mutant
needed
Ninja
to be
Turtle.
done.
Well, it's the Frank Miller Daredevil. So
Okay,
like there's the
okay.
girl in the fridge, or not the girl in the fridge, but you know how in the 80s Daredevil was super Catholic and he was always fighting the hand, the ninjas from the hand.
Well, see that yeah, when you talk about like the Foot Clan, I did feel like I was watching the Elektra movie for a little bit with the
Well,
hand.
yeah, the foot is a direct mock of the
The hand.
hand.
That's awesome. And now
Um
I feel like Teenage Mutant 2 needs to be paired with Elektra, but we'll come back to
and
that.
the original comics were in black and white. And if you could find one today, like an
Oh
original one,
wow.
they the tone is completely different. The tone is just completely was invented, I think, for the cartoon.
Okay,
Um,
so they were like the source material was like super violent, right? I did read that somewhere.
yeah, the source material was like serious and like incredibly violent,
Okay.
which was also part of the Daredevil thing because he was always beating the crap out of people, but no one was dying. But they
Because
just were like, here's some guys with swords. Here's a turtle with swords, and he's gonna just chop you up.
right, so like that was you asked me like impression. Like the thing that I was sort of blown away by was not so much the level of violence because I knew it was going to be like toned down because this was a kids movie in a lot of ways, right? But they had a lot of violence in it. At least
Mhm.
I was like, wait a minute, this was 1990. We didn't protect children the way we do now. They're not wrapped in bubbles. Like, yeah, here's some nunchucks to the face, kid. Welcome to a hard life. So I mean, I
I
kind of
said that while
yeah.
we were watching it this go around because I was watching it. I mean, I wasn't just watching it like I normally do for enjoyment. I'm watching it with a different lens because I know we're going to talk about it. And there were a few times when I said, "Wow, that's really messed up. I can't believe I was allowed to watch that when I was like 6 years old." But yeah, no one seemed to care. We didn't care. Karate was such a big thing. Ninja stuff
Uh,
was such a big thing. We
yeah.
ate it. We ate it up.
I mean, I think karate at this point had waned in the pop culture versus the Karate Kid movies had come and gone, and then all I mean, there's always been ninja stuff, and Ron, you're the expert on all of those kind of things. We're post American Ninja, at least one, if not two, but we've got a lot of Chuck Norris in our pop culture lexicon and stuff. So I feel like it's shorthand, to just know that ninjas are a thing. And G.I. Joe was a big deal at the time, and there were two ninjas in that. So,
Yeah, and it actually was kind of like what drove a lot of the ninja craze because the cartoon came out in like 86 or 87. I think 87. The cartoon had been around for a while by the time the movie was on. So it kind of rode the crest of the early wave of ninja stuff. And they Eastman and Laird had a rich layer of Daredevil stuff because there was lots of ninjas in comic books at the time and stuff like that. So
there's
they
also something like very Gremlins about the way that Splinter is explaining their origin story through this. Like it just felt like I was watching animatronic gremlin situations happening, or Rizzo the rat, like his cousin is Splinter now. Or
which is very funny because the whole point
It's
of Splinter being named Splinter is Daredevil's trainer is a guy named Stick.
yeah,
So
okay.
obviously, what comes off of the stick when you break the stick, you
I
get splinters.
that's great.
I didn't realize how closely this hewn to the Daredevil knockoff, but that's funny. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
and there's
when
like some new mutants in there because they were
I
teenagers.
mean,
There's lots of the big history of anthropomorphic animals in comic books like Howard the
see,
Duck and
that feels
Cerebus.
like Spinal Tap, which is now getting a sequel finally. Like they actually made music people remembered when they were making fun of music that no one would remember.
Yeah.
So
But it's funny because the movie was much more violent than I remember.
yeah.
The cartoon they had to tone it down after the first season because particularly in Britain people were complaining because they were
Wow.
like had knives and swords and like that's why like the first season Michelangelo was using his nunchucks all the time, but in like the second season he's got like a grappling hook that he's using as his main weapon because
which is somewhat safer. I wrote down the words fair weapons, and I mean like county
yeah.
fair. Like you could go to the county fair and buy these. Probably not legally, but
And the thing
replicas
is, they
thereof.
didn't even want them. So in Britain, they're called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles because the word ninja was too
Oh,
violent.
How?
wow. The Japanese are too
And
violent.
that's why we won, people.
I don't know. Probably racism. Who knows?
America.
We like our ninjas. Um, I do appreciate the way that the story is told, and like I said, the ooze and all that. I mean, really, I did have some Jason flashbacks with that. I was like, oh, that feels very Friday the 13th Part 8, but that's okay. We thought New York was nothing but sewers and slime at this point, and I don't know that we were entirely wrong.
But they're like nice sewers that they live
They're very
in.
roomy sewers, I would say that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's probably one of those big, probably some disused subway tunnels under there, that kind of
something,
deal.
yeah.
I feel
But
like though that they missed out on an opportunity to not have the Ninja Turtles meet at least one chud while they were there.
I don't think they could make that work. I mean, the that's the other thing that I'll say like really worked for me about this. And look, I grew up on the Muppets and grew up on Jim Henson and Sesame Street, all that stuff. So Jim Henson's Creature Shop stuff is just, and I know it's like 100 people, and we listed most of them in the cast list. The animatronics and the puppetry are just like some marvels of practical effects. Like they really to make that work and work as well as it does is a feat. And I think I knew that was part of this movie's like legacy or whatever, but I again had never watched it, and so looking at it, I was like, what they get out of them is really impressive. Even in the smaller where they're just sitting around just being normal, I kind of forget that it's like 5 people making that work at the same time.
Yeah, and you know that they had to shoot it slower, right?
No, I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah, so anytime you see the suits, unless they're interacting with someone, if they're interacting with each other, they're shooting at like 20 or 21 frames a second because the suits move so slowly
huh.
and were so ponderous. The only way they could get it to look like they were like moving with the speed and quickness that you would want a ninja to move at is to shoot it at like 20 or 21 frames per second and then speed it up to 24.
Oh my. That's like an
Wow.
editing feat
That's
too,
cool.
man.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it's literally all done like in camera, all those tricks.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, Steve Barron that they got to do this was like a video music director. Like, I mean, his stuff from the 80s. He did Billie Jean. He did Run to You from Bryan Adams, Money for Nothing. He did Take on Me, from Aha. He did, a bunch of stuff. So he like knew how to direct these blended environments and stuff. And there's a lot of that stuff it's almost stop motiony. So I can get that now that you say that. I didn't realize that was the case though, but um I mean it's impressive. I mean, but I did not realize they went through that trouble to make this work though.
That's so cool. All the work that is done and was done. I think that's why the new it's not even the new kind of animation that they've used in the try to remakes. I know that is what's in fashion and they're, going with it, but this is what was in fashion when I was a kid. So I'm totally one of those. Back in my day, they used real puppets for this stuff and it was so much better and
Mhm.
that will always be my opinion. I just think it's honestly a feat of having to put the puzzle pieces together and I just can't imagine because they ran into different issues at every turn and how to stage this and it was figuring out
Mhm.
the puzzle and putting it all together and making it look as good as it did and
I also want to know if any of the producers of the Fast and Furious, at least the first ones, owe money to these people because the Foot Clan's like whole thing is very much the first couple of Fast and Furious movies, ripping off all the VCRs and shit. So,
I can't believe that I did not make that connection. I'm more shocked that my Brian did not make that
Yeah, you need to go
connection.
tell him that. Because tell him I've got an in for him now. So, but I mean, really, it's the first thing I
No,
thought of. I
you're
was like,
right.
oh, well, actually, the first I was like, oh, so it's kind of like Point Break, which is basically Fast and Furious. This is Fast and Furious with turtles? Okay. So I'm game. I didn't realize we were going to go there today, but okay.
And a really sweet teenage layer for
Ri-
their
Right. Yeah, it's very like that is like the teenage fantasy of being a teenager at the time, I can say yes, very much that should have appealed to me. I just, like I said, missed this, but um it's wild. So I think I say I missed it. The one like Turtles memory I had was the arcade that I would still go to from time to time. Had like one of
Mhm.
those the great fighting Turtles games, and I think it was a side scroller, and
Yeah,
it was a
it's a it's a
blast.
Yeah.
it's a stellar game, and the
Mhm.
Nintendo adaptation is actually really good too.
That's what everybody says. I never played it
Mhm.
on the Nintendo, but I remember it at the arcade and always seeing people play it and just thinking the graphics were incredible, And but yeah, no, I love that because I mean, it's a relatable plot, but it's also so silly that it's like it adds a good bit of comedy. Because I mean, a lot of the jokes are real dated and stuff, so it's either funny or, yeah. That's the thing about comedies; it's hard to, you got to put yourself in the moment. And so, putting myself in that moment, I'm like, all right, when I was 13, would I have laughed at that? Yeah, probably so. And I thought it was fun enough. And um, they, I just want to know though, why do you get Corey Feldman, who at this point is still a thing? All right, this is before the going off point, I guess. But you like third billing in the Turtles cast.
That was really confusing for me too. And did he share that part? I feel like he shared. I don't know. Maybe he didn't.
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
at that point, the drugs were plenty. But and
Yeah.
I mean,
It
he definitely just did the voice, and I think
yeah.
obviously somebody else did the suit.
right.
But he also
Um
came back to do voices later on in like the animated shows after this.
Yeah, he ended
yeah.
up doing a lot of voice work, like as an actor, you know.
I don't know. Maybe this was
But
his in. His agent, I'm sure, got him the job,
oh,
but
I'm sure. I just think it's just funny that I'm like, Corey Feldman's the voice of one of these, and it's not even like the lead one. Like you would think like it would fought for that.
can I be I forgot. It didn't register in my brain until I watched it recently, and
Mhm.
in the post credits his name popped up and I noticed it and I went,
Mhm.
Corey Feldman, and I immediately went to IMDb and looked it up. I was
Mhm.
I
I had
did not
remembered
believe
that.
it.
I knew
Yeah.
Feldman was like one of the voices, but I didn't remember which one, and I didn't really know the different. I knew they all had names, and like it was the color of the eye band was the way you told them apart
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. But I couldn't have named them all like and matched them. I could have told you the four artist names because that was sort of ubiquitous pop culture
Mhm.
knowledge, but I couldn't have told you who was what. But I like the idea that they each sort of have like a teenage attitude problem, and then that's going to be their entire personality.
They all have entirely different accents too.
Yes, because the
We've
ooze does that, I guess.
Yeah, we've got straight up California. I think maybe 2 of them have California-ish,
But one's like
California
one's
adjacent.
more Spicoli, and the other one's
Yeah,
more like just California.
and then we've got, like, some mix of New York and Boston going on.
Hmm.
It's like, especially when I think it's Donatello, when he gets mad, he goes straight New Yorker.
Yeah, Feldman's very east. Like you
Yeah.
can, he's channeling that at least, and yeah, I don't know why well, I guess these are supposed to be from New York City, so why they adopted like surfer culture?
I don't I love the surfer culture though, and I love the California accents when they or like
Hmm.
the surfer accents when they use it. Like,
I
And
and
that's
I
the funny
think
thing
we're
because Corey Feldman's from California. So
I think we're supposed to accept the fact that these guys were raised by television,
okay, is
and
that
that's how
it?
they learned all their
oh,
English. Which is
okay.
why you
Oh,
have, Michelangelo, who's halfway to a Three Stooge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what were they watching? I guess they were watching The Stooges, and what else
Yeah.
would have been on that would have influenced them
I
like
mean,
that?
considering it was like 80s New York, there's probably anything you wanted to watch on a low power independent station.
This is true.
They
Yeah.
were probably watching W movies on WPIX, like our friend Rob from
Yep.
Chainsaws and Claws, who grew up in
Yes.
the New York and was always watching movies on WPIX.
I bet we should message Rob right now and ask him if he knew these dudes, because I bet he went to high school with one. So,
With the
I
Ninja
mean,
Turtles?
yeah, one of a later turtle. They're kind of like the Midnight Express. They just rotate people in and out, over time, just to keep the brand going, because it's important. But yeah, or the Grateful Dead bands, whatever, whatever you want to do.
So are
Mhm.
you implying that like Donatello is Dennis Condrey?
Yeah, there we go. That we'll go with that. Or you know what? Maybe the turtles are like Starship, which began as Jefferson Airplane.
Oof.
So, hey, I like Starship songs. I'm not gonna cop to that. I like do Starship songs. They're fun. They're cheese, but if you've been to a wedding reception with white people, I would guarantee you've heard at least one of them. So, and of course, I'm referencing "Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now." So, this is a
Yeah.
great white people wedding song if you're my age. So,
That is very true. All right, I can't I can't hate on Starship, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be nice.
yeah. I'll tell you one thing that like I guess was maybe a little bump in the road for me was the whole farm retreat sequence, and that seemed to slow things down a lot. Like I know why it's there because at some point we can only shoot this thing's face. It's all that's really working probably that day, so we can't keep having the limits of the stuff I get. But I don't. That part to me it just sticks out as kind of strange. You know.
Yeah, I mean, they were running. I think the strangest part to me was that April has this big giant farmhouse that she could just live in and she doesn't,
Right.
Yeah, a big
which
giant farmhouse that's clearly fairly a short commute from New York City because that dilapidated Fred Sanford truck makes it back to the city from that.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
she could totally commute.
I know. I'm like, and that's the other thing too. Like, she makes it to New York, but it's like she's still trying to get a bigger job. I'm like, that is the media job. Like, you start out in bum weasel Kansas, and you try to get to New York.
We've all seen Anchorman. We know how it works. It's
Yeah, I
still
mean,
pretty
really, you
much
try to get
the
to New York or
same.
California. Like, maybe not anymore, but back in my day, to do that when I was working in news, that's what everybody wanted to do. And what
Yeah.
they fired her for is dumb. She is the most popular stuff on the channel. And they get
Yeah.
rid of, I feel like this network is run by the same idiots that ran No Holds Barred's network. And we're like trying to pay Hulk Hogan and Zeus to fight to the
Well,
death or whatever.
they do an actual, attempt to establish that the police are leaning on the network. And also let's not kid ourselves. This isn't a network. This is a station.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If they're a network affiliate, they're like, I don't know, a Dumont network affiliate. They're the last one.
Right. Yeah. They're not. They haven't been swallowed up by the media
Yeah,
conglomerations of the
this is
late
like one
90s.
step below that station from The Howling that the girl
DeVos
from The
Stone
Howling works
works
at. Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that in a while, but you're not wrong. So, remind me of this though. Like, April was a much bigger deal in the cartoons and the comics and stuff. Like, I feel like she gets a little short shrift here. Like, nothing against Judith Hogue. I just feel like she's sort of thrown to the side for a lot of this stuff. Versus what I remember again hearing about like what she was in the animation side. She's more just the damsel in distress.
She was
Y-
pretty heavily the damsel in distress for a lot of those too, but she was also like a very important like plot instigator from what I remember. Like she
Yeah,
was
she
always
kind
like,
of made her own distress.
yeah, she got herself into distress by doing stupid
Yeah,
things like, what's this guy
because she's
doing
a
these
The
fly
reporter. Yeah.
experiments?
the
Yeah,
damsel that creates distress is what you're saying. So, see,
pretty
I think
much.
I'm like conflating a little bit of that, but that actually reminds me of the real Ghostbusters cartoon, and the Janine character on there
Mm.
was the same way. She just like brought hauntings to them when they needed something to happen.
Yeah, like for the action figure for the toy,
Hmm.
April's weapons were like she had like a camera.
Yeah.
So that should tell you that she was out there like getting her nose into some shit that she didn't need to be involved in. and then
That
the
She had
turtles
sounds
would
a
have to get involved.
sweet yellow jumpsuit though, which
Yeah.
they could have
Mhm.
put her in for this movie, but
That's
they gave her a yellow raincoat, which
yeah,
is
that didn't
probably
work.
my least favorite costume choice of the whole movie because I really feel like because yellow jumpsuit was still very much
Mhm.
like an in style, like it would have been fine, I think, in the movie, but they just
Yeah, I
went
think
with
it
the
would have
remember
definitely
raincoat.
that.
worked like
Yeah.
as one of her like on camera outfits.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, especially as yeah, even if they just did it for one scene or one of those longer scenes where you're clearly wearing the same outfit for, several days because you're running from the cops out into the country or whatever. But
Right.
I think a yellow jumpsuit absolutely would have worked. I think it would have been a big moment, or they could have made it one because it
Yeah.
was just she was, it was such a cool outfit. And if you're gonna
So
dress up like April O'Neil for Halloween, you're wearing a yellow jumpsuit.
Yellow
right.
jumpsuit, white boots, and a big white belt.
Yes.
And am I wrong, or did she not have like flame red hair? Or am I confusing that with another cartoon
She did
character?
have flame red hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit.
All right.
But in the cartoon, but also the action figure didn't have flame red hair from
It
what I
was more of
remember.
a
Okay.
brownish,
Yeah,
So
because
this is like
auburny.
Judith Hogue is like in between the two
Yeah.
it's kind of
realities.
strawberry
Yeah.
blonde, but I dyed it for another role and I'm not changing it. That's what that, I
Yeah.
mean, which is fine. I don't care. I just thought I remembered that as part of her character getup. But let me ask you, I mean,
Mhm.
I know I made fun of them as Fast and Furious-y, preludes, but like what is the Foot Clan's thing? Are they trying to be like Radio Shack Yakuza? Or what? Like what's their whole deal?
Well, um, for the movie, I think they're just kind of like a general goon supply for Shredder, who is probably trying to make some, just to do the
Money.
standard thing of making a bunch of money.
So he's like Cobra Commander, but ninja.
Yes. And I
Okay.
won't
Mhm.
do the Cobra Commander voice because I don't have anything to stop myself from coughing after I do
No,
that.
I was hoping I could coax it out of you with that, but someday. But yeah, well, that was how I kind of read him too, because I know that's not the actor's voice. They got a voice actor to do, which is very obvious. But a good job with the dub because they sync it well. But it had a little bit like there's a little Mr. Claw in there with that. I know it's a different voice actor, but it kind of felt
Dr.
Oh,
Claw,
there. Dr.
yeah.
Claw, I'm
he
sorry,
went to
yes.
evil medical school, Jay.
He did go to Evil Medical School. You're great. There's a little Dr. Claw in there and
Mhm.
a little Destro from G.I. Joe. And there's a few voices happening with not with very Asian man with not Asian voice, like
Oh,
at all, which was interesting.
but
So,
Shredder was such a badass
oh, he
bad
was
guy.
cool. Yeah, he looked awesome. It was
Like,
like the
the cape was
hmm
so crazy, and then I did notice his, hat, I guess we could call it, was definitely just a wicker basket that
no
someone
doubt.
spray painted
Silver.
black.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, if you want to go there, most of the samurai armor was just wicker
Yeah, yeah.
and silk.
I
So maybe he's trying to do a samurai thing,
I
but
mean, I did
Oh, could
like his
be.
his whole get up though. I'm with you, Lindsay, because he just looked
Yeah.
like I am the bad guy. Like
Oh,
if there was any doubt, I am the bad Wolverine. And because he had the knives and the whole nine. Um,
mhm.
and I loved it. Like he had like beef with Splinter from killing Splinter Sensei, which Splinter learned as a rat doing kung fu. Okay, sure, whatever movie. But then the fact that Splinter scratched him and it like stayed. It's almost like if you've seen Die Another Day, the villain that has the diamonds blown through his face. I think it's played by Rick
mm,
Yoon. It sort of felt like that, like which is I know a later thing, but I felt like they were referencing.
I just think it's disappointing that they didn't get the James Avery to do the Shredder dub too for the movie because I feel like that would have been a nice tie-in to the cartoon.
I wonder if anybody would have known back then, though. So, I mean, I'm with you. It probably
I
would have
mean,
sounded
cartoon
better,
fans
but
would have immediately been like, "That's the real
hmm
Shredder voice."
yeah. So, would have been, I mean, I say that, and then everybody knew the guy that was doing Optimus Prime in the Michael Bay Transformers
Yeah.
movies is the same dude. So yeah, like they got all that right. So
Well, because you hear it and
Mhm.
you
You just know.
immediately, like, the hairs on your arm stand up a little bit. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
You know.
and I'm pretty sure that Uncle Phil was doing Fresh Prince at this time, but I think he could have found a few weeks to do some voiceover.
Yeah, just knock it
Yeah.
out. That stuff doesn't take
I
very
forgot
long.
that was Uncle Phil. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Oh, I forgot that.
And if you
So,
don't want Uncle Phil, one of the other guys who did it in the cartoon, when Uncle Phil
Mhm.
wasn't available, was Dorian Harewood. So
Oh,
that
that
would
would
have
work
also
too.
been a really
Yeah.
cool voice. Or they could have just gotten Kevin Michael Richardson to do it.
Well, speaking of which, how is Peter Cullen not a voice in this cast? Because he was on everything at this point and still
And they
is.
had everyone in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know how Peter Cullen didn't end up in the cartoon for one of these decades long
I
versions of
mean,
the cartoon that he was not in any of them anywhere.
I guess he was doing all the G.I. Joe and Transformers stuff and whatever else and preparing to be the voice of the Anaconda, years later. But
I mean, if you can get like Roseanne Barr and
oh my
Jason
gosh.
Biggs and Seth
Dude,
Green
Roseanne.
God.
from like
Wow.
this is like the 2012 version of Turtles. Mae Whitman was in there.
Oh,
David Tennant.
was that the Michael Bay version? Am I right about that?
It's the Michael Bay cartoon. Like the
Oh,
version
okay.
Michael Bay did led to a cartoon spinoff where like Kevin
Okay.
Michael Richardson was there and Roseanne
Oh,
Barr was one of the voices of Krang. Peter
Huh.
or not Peter Stormare, Jeffrey Combs,
wow.
Clancy Brown too, which is amazing. An amazing
That
get if you can get him. But
yeah, now I kind of want Clancy Brown to read the novelization of this for audiobook. Like I could just like hear that and that would heal nations.
I
I
didn't
feel
even
like.
think I needed this on audiobook, but
I did grow up in the era where every movie had a novelization, and I know I saw this one on the shelf a few times and
I had the
didn't.
Home Alone and the Home Alone 2 novelization.
Oh, see, yeah. So
Got it at
that's
the Scholastic Book Fair. I don't want to brag, but
Scholastic Book Fair memories. Oh, Ron, do the children still have the Scholastic Book Fair? Somebody who has a child in that grade now. So.
they do,
Oh,
yes.
yay!
and they still bring the big metal thing
The
into
the book,
schools, but
but
you do a lot of you do a lot of pre-ordering now,
yeah, of
um,
course, yeah.
or you
So
put like $20 on your child's account, and your child goes to pick out whatever books they want from you.
oh, that's wow.
Nice.
Love Scholastic Book Fair memories. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so many vampire books, so many shark books.
And
Amelia
she
Bedelia was my girl.
has as good a time there as I did. That was
Oh,
actually the
good.
first place I got a grown-up book because I got
Yeah.
um Jurassic Park from there.
You know what? I think I got a
Oh,
Stephen King book from one
Ooh,
when I was like
yeah.
in like sixth or seventh grade. So
hopefully it wasn't it because
no, it wasn't that one.
Hmm,
So no, it was I forget what it was. It might have been it was one of the ones that was I guess deemed safe enough. So I don't know.
that's funny.
But yeah, that's why I'm actually not surprised that that's her thing, knowing who her parents are, Rod. It would be
The-
wild that it would not be her thing.
yeah, that makes a lot of
There
sense.
there are lots of books in her life. So yeah, no doubt. So, I don't know that I'll give this movie a lot of credit though for like keeping things moving throughout it, even though I said it kind of slows down at the
Mhm.
farm, and I get like why it does, but I mean this is an hour and a half long movie, and I mean it didn't. I mean it. I think the bulk of it's mostly like 83 minutes, and I appreciated that, like because so many things these days are 4 hour long stuff. Yeah, I appreciate like a swift movie that kind of gets you in and out. It's pretty
Yeah.
simple, doesn't ask a lot.
I mean, you get April and Casey get their little moment
They
to
do.
develop something so that we know for sure that it's not gonna turn into a Howard the Duck and April's not gonna develop a relationship with one of the
Oh,
turtles because that's
oh,
really where it feels like it's going at one point.
right. I was starting to go like, oh no, oh no.
Yeah, but we don't. Everyone breathe easy. If you haven't seen this movie yet, it doesn't turn into Howard the Duck. which
By
is
the way, I gave
great.
Howard the Duck like an extra large popcorn too, so I'm not opposed to these things.
I love Howard the Duck.
Yeah,
I
love
think
who
I
you
was the one
love,
that
but
suggested we do that movie
you
many
did.
years ago.
And you dressed up in like 80s garb for the recording, even though it's
It
not a
was
video
the
podcast.
it was the pandemic. I didn't have anything
Yes.
else to do.
True. Oh my. So many things. But
I
yeah.
stand by that decision.
Yeah, definitely
Hey,
check
no,
that
made
episode
the
out in the
show.
archives because that's a killer episode.
That's a fun episode. I wish the video of it existed, but yeah,
I
the audio is great. But no, I'm with you because I for a minute there I was like, they're not gonna make one of the turtles fall in love with this woman. I mean, like they can
Right.
get a crush, but like it should stay that way. Like
Yeah.
no, because he's a teenage boy. That's
They
the
are
idea.
teenage boys and turtles.
Yeah, and
So
she's
there's just so
an
many
adult.
layers of nose going
Um,
on there.
Also, Casey's a little young for her too. I'm just gonna say
But at least he's a human.
he's
Yes.
human, but
And legal.
right. But what's his like? He's a crime-fighting pizza man.
He's just like a vigilante.
Yeah, he's just a
who-
vigilante.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
because he was a popular character in the cartoon.
Mhm.
Okay.
He had a golf bag that was full of weapons.
Yeah.
See that. So I'm going to tell you my reference point for this, and it's many years later, but I feel like Joss Whedon ripped that idea off when he put the character of Gunn on Angel, who was just this streetwise kid who basically fought vampires because they wiped out his whole gang, and so he turned his gang skills into killing vampires. And that's like I was watching Casey Jones, and I'm like, this feels like Gunn on Angel. Like I feel like and knowing Whedon's age and what he's into, I wouldn't doubt that he ripped that off from it.
I've never seen Angel.
I see. Yeah. I'm sure you're talking to people who don't watch that show, but
Yeah.
anybody who's listening to this who does, Kendall, so whoever else, you know what I mean. But yeah, but no, I mean, I like that, and I'm glad that it was obvious her and Casey had a place to go.
Yeah, and what it was Donatello was the one that got hurt really bad, right? And he was the one in the tub.
Okay,
I
so
Raphael got hurt pretty good
Oh.
too.
yeah, Raphael was the one who got hurt.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
funny is the introduction of Casey Jones in this is basically the introduction Casey Jones has in the comic book.
Really?
Like
Nice.
he shows up as this like super violent vigilante, and they stop, and Raphael stops him from killing a couple of muggers, and they get in a fight. Then they kind of become friends. Then they're all attacked by the Shredder and the goons at April O'Neil's house. Then they run off to his grandmother. In the comics, at least, it's his grandmother's farmhouse up in like Northampton, so upstate, and that's where they go. That's the farmhouse they go to. I don't know. I don't remember it being mentioned that that's Casey Jones's family's farmhouse in the movie. I thought it was
in the
April's.
movie. They
Yeah.
mentioned that it's April's,
Right, it's April's.
or that it
Or
was
her family's.
April's family's farmhouse. It was her dad's.
Well, see, like she had some
but then
cousins
she also
there,
had
and there was
and
this
she
whole,
also
like,
had the antique store, which was her dad's. But
yeah, but see, there was this massacre that happened with this hockey mask guy several years ago. It fell under weird litigation. It was very strange. They don't talk about it in that town anymore. They changed the name of the town. So
yeah,
for those that don't know, I'm referencing Friday the 13th 3 and part of 4. But
Yeah, and it's funny because like the whole point of Casey Jones as a character is he's so violent and scary that even Raphael's like, "Whoa, man, just chill out, take a deep breath."
well, I love that they give him like that he's an ex-hockey player. And so there's like a little bit of that sort of the same joke that the first Happy Gilmore works on, which there are no jokes in the second Happy Gilmore. There's just member berries. But the first one is built on that he's a hockey player and he's really violent, And so I'm like, okay, I can buy that. Like I've watched enough hockey on television.
Yeah.
So,
and I didn't. This was just brought to my attention recently, but I always thought because hockey players wear so many pads, I just always assume hockey players are big dudes, but most of them are really skinny.
they're
And
slight, yeah.
Casey Jones he's a svelte human.
Oh, Elias Koteas is always like this skinny, wormy, he's usually causing problems for the plot, and in this movie he does too. But he's usually like an antagonist.
He's
Like
usually causing problems.
he's like a serial killer. He's the murderer on this week's Law and Order. He's just one of those guys. Like one of his best performances ever is this Denzel Washington movie called Fallen, which I would recommend y'all watch if you haven't rewatched recently.
Mm.
He's incredible in it, and he's not in a ton of it, but he's in enough of it that he makes a great impression, and then Denzel really works off of him well. So it's a great performance.
So while we're recommending movies with Denzel Washington, has anyone put Ricochet out on DVD or Blu-ray?
Oh, I wish they would. That was my introduction to Denzel was Ricochet. So, and if you've never seen that, Lindsay, it is a wild ride. It's John Lithgow giving a capital P performance in that
Yes.
movie.
What?
John Lithgow leaves no scenery unchewed.
No, it's the same vein of Lithgow from like Cliffhanger, but like on 11.
Yeah, but more so.
Yeah,
Right.
that movie is nuts. Ice-T's in it. It's crazy. He plays a drug dealer, real surprise.
This is
It's
1991. Denzel,
Yeah.
John Lithgow is the
yeah,
one.
it's either going to be that movie, Jay, or it's going to be what's the movie with young Russell Crowe where he plays the robot?
Oh,
Denzel Washington has to stop him.
it's not Johnny Mnemonic. It's the other one. Virtuosity.
Virtuosity, yes,
Yes.
that's another good one.
Yeah,
Also, I think that's in the Johnny Mnemonic universe somehow.
I think it is. Yeah, just as a sidebar. But yeah, no, we might have to put a pin in Ricochet. That might have to be a comeback to at some point, like because that movie is bonkers.
Yeah.
Much like the ending of this movie to bring us back. The final battle at the
Great
Foot Clan's
segue.
lair. Well, I love that they capture the rat and they beat him up, but they don't kill him. So, because I was like, man, if they kill this rat, like I might legit cry.
The
Like,
rat. His name is Splinter J.
I know.
Look, let's be
I'm not
honest.
using his real name. But yeah.
If you went out and you beat up a talking rat and brought it back to your compound, are you going to kill it? Or are you going to try to figure out why it's talking? Like you're killing it. You would be murdering a meal ticket. All you'd have to do would be to take that thing to Coney Island, put him in that last surviving freak show. Be like,
Splinter's
look, it's
thinking
Rat
about
Man.
money.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of that old Looney Tunes cartoon with the singing frog. Do you guys
Yeah.
know the one I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Michigan
Michigan
J.
J.
Frog.
Frog.
Yeah. And every time he opens it up, the frog is like, "Meow." And then he sings the guy into oblivion and he suckers somebody else. Yeah. No, I love that cartoon.
It's one of the best
And-
ones of all time.
No, it's a great one. It's a classic. Go look that up, people, if you haven't seen that or don't know what we're talking about. Just look up Michigan J. Frog Origin or whatever on.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
and then watch
Wait.
some of his old idents from when the WB network was a thing. And that was
Yes,
their
yes.
inexplicable
Oh, believe
mascot.
me, as a Buffy watcher, I knew Michigan J. Frog very well. We were pals at that point. But no, I love the fact that Shredder, in addition to being this badass ninja, is also like Vince McMahon. Like he's trying to sell tickets to a sideshow, right?
He is like
Well, he is also a lot like Vince McMahon, and then he's like mentally abusing people to get what he wants
Way.
out of them
Mhm.
and to run his weird criminal
He's just
empire.
making money off the backs of broken humans.
It all works, right? See? So I hadn't thought about that till you just said it, but yeah, he's
Shredder's Vince McMahon.
That's good shit, pal.
that.
That was
He's-
giving more Christian Bale Batman, but
He's like watching
I'll
the
give it
all right,
to
he's
ya.
like watching the
Yeah.
turtles fight, and he's like, "What a maneuver!"
Yeah. That was good. Nailed it.
There you go. You got it that time. Yeah, that's-
Casey Jones, you're fired.
Yeah, he did it before the Donald did it, kids.
Ah.
But no, I like the big fight here at the end though, and how everybody kind of gets their well
Their
using what-
turn.
yeah, well, getting the wrestling part of this, everybody gets their shit in, and then they get to work their stuff, and I had a good time with that. I thought it's really, again, I'm just gonna go back to it's a feat of effects to make all of that look like a turtle costume is whipping the shit out of these people. Some
And
of which
that's-
are real good stunt performers.
And that's a thing throughout the entire movie, right? Like the turtles move so well.
Yeah.
And even like the scene where Casey Jones discovers that Raphael is not just a weird punker, where he's like, I guess, creeping on him from afar, like with his
Yeah.
his Jimmy Stewart telescope,
Yeah.
watching him do like cartwheels
He's the
and
most
and
emo
Yeah.
of all
toscata.
of them, no doubt. So
Yeah.
it
He just
fits.
needs to be alone sometimes.
Mhm.
But like, just to think about that actor doing cartwheels in like a 50-pound styrofoam suit. Even if you remove
Yeah.
even if it's not like the show suit where it's got to do facial expressions and shit, it's still an impressive feat to do a cartwheel,
Mhm.
essentially wearing a suit of armor,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, it would be like a hockey player doing a backflip, or something. That's
Yeah.
about what that would look like. And that's why anytime I see one of these NFL guys like turn backflips in their full gear, I'm like, you realize how much athleticism it takes to do that, period, plus with all that shit on you?
Yeah.
Like,
And
Well,
now your
here's
first thought should be you could have been a Ninja Turtle in
turtle.
1990.
Yeah,
yeah, but
exactly.
here's the thing, Jay. Modern NFL uh pads have a lot more ventilation than that full body styrofoam suit.
Oh no, they do. I'm talking about like seeing guys like in the 80s do that stuff because they did. Like, when Jerry Rice is running a 4-3 down the field with that hunk of stuff on his shoulders and blowing by everybody.
There's a lot of butt sweat in those suits.
You can imagine just
How do
what
you
you would have to
clean
put in your
styrofoam?
nose you
Yeah.
don't, right? Can you? I mean,
I
you're the
mean, it's
stage
probably not
person.
styrofoam. It's probably something even more dangerous and disgusting.
Polyurethane
Yeah,
unit.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
yeah.
probably
but
some weird mystery chemical that,
You
these
probably
guys are
just
going to
spray it
suffer
with
from.
Lysol, you know.
I mean, can you imagine, like, you would never get the smell of Lysol or Pine Sol or whatever they used in that thing out of your nose after it
No,
was
no, it'd
over
be like
with?
riding in my grandma's car. Her car always smelled like Lysol.
Yeah, and it wouldn't it would just smell like Lysol and BO. It wouldn't
Right.
change
It
it
Oh,
to no
doesn't.
yeah,
smell.
you're right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't get rid of the
There's
It's
at
like
some
how,
Oh,
if
point.
you've
it's
got
so
an old pair of
special.
shoes and you spray Febreze in it, it just smells like feet and Febreze. It's not
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
really help that
yeah.
much.
Febreze cannot help running shoes. I'm just gonna tell you right now. You got to use something stronger. Like, we know these things.
It's true.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
called
true.
fire,
And the
Jay.
something stronger, yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say is buy a
Well,
new pair of running shoes.
I just retired the ones I ran the marathon with you in today because they finally got to the point where they were done. I'm like, no, these are
Wow.
never going to dry. They're gone. It's over. But yeah,
You'd have to
they're
Yeah.
pour some Everclear in those bad boys if you really
oh
wanted to kill the stink.
oh dude,
Ooh,
like, you don't even
even
want to know.
then.
But yeah, I was trying to say, like, this set, I can only imagine just how awfully hot all this would be with the lights on it all day. And
Yeah.
that's one thing we haven't talked about, like the set work, in addition to the all the animatronics and stuff. The sets on this are incredible, like they really
Yeah.
are.
Well, we touched on the teenage hangout
Hmm.
area, which looked like the stuff that little teenage dreams are made of back in the early 90s.
Hmm.
Slash technically 80s because the decade doesn't end until the 5, right? It's
Right,
kind of
like,
our rule.
yeah, the 3 to the 4, yes,
Mm.
we'll
Yeah,
have it in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that specific set was cool. April's apartment was nice.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, look, reporters in New York make good money, but she can't afford that. We're talking about.
Well, she probably could have afforded it in like 1989.
Yeah, well, it was
I
it
don't
was
know,
her
man.
It
dad's,
was
right? Because she
it was
lived
her
Oh, wait a
dad's,
above
yeah.
minute.
the antique store. So
Okay, so
And
okay, so I
it
missed
was
that
like the
detail.
West Village.
Mm.
It was like Bleecker Street and 11th. It wasn't like,
Okay, I missed
Central
that
Park
detail.
West. It's kind
yeah.
of
Yeah. Okay, I missed that
at the
detail.
time it was a little more run down. Now all of
Man,
Manhattan is a playground for the wealthy, and Harlem
that's
is
when
full of white people.
that's when
But that bit was really cool too. The
Mhm.
scene where they fight inside the antique store and they're
Hmm.
coming through the top of the apartment and they fall through the
the
floor to the antique store and all of the details that I
mhm.
mean,
The
some
antique store felt like something out of Gremlins. It felt
yeah.
like out of the Chinatown
I've
store.
never made that Gremlins jump either, and
Mhm.
I see the
To
parallels.
so I mean, like this. Well, I think
Yeah.
part of it is the Asian culture stuff, with the American version of that is sort of bleeding in. But
Mhm.
I feel like everything got dressed like that for 12 years or more. but it did look good. That's the thing is like if you're gonna have these, what's the deal about ninjas, right? It's that they're these like super precise fighting machines, right?
Mhm.
You've got to put them in close quarters. I mean, you can have them out in the open, but then it just becomes, the other things.
Jay, you have to say what's the deal with ninjas in your Seinfeld voice because it's New York.
What's the deal with all the ninjas?
Why are they called the foot? Why not the elbow?
Or at least the fingers, because that's what works the remote on all the VCRs they're stealing. But yeah,
It's so true.
I mean, really, but I got a kick out of that. What did y'all think of the song by Spunkadelic? 9.95.
I mean, I had the soundtrack, so I loved all these songs.
That's like a piece of 90s hip hop. It's right before NWA and Public Enemy and all those groups like said, no, we're not doing that Fresh Prince.
It was like, well, can we get Digital Underground? No, they're busy doing
the Humpty Dance still.
no, they're busy doing what's that terrible movie with Dan Aykroyd?
Oh, Nothing But Trouble?
Nothing But Trouble. Yeah, they're busy filming Nothing But Trouble right now, and Tupac Shakur is still a dancer. He's not an actual rapper.
I forgot they were in that. So, no, it definitely feels like that very narrow band of late 80s, early 90s hip hop where it was all about like the colors and the crisscross and all that action, and very a different world, the spinoff of the Cosby Show, like all that aesthetic, which
Yeah.
lines up in some early Spike Lee stuff too. So well, it was the culture at the time. I mean, my older brother that's what he listened to. I mean, he was like a senior in high school when this came out. So I know, I mean, Dana Dane, he had all that stuff, before the harder stuff came out and took over.
I feel like we need to give a shout out to like the people doing the suit actions, like David Foreman, the suit performer for Leonardo, Ernie Reyes in particular. He's the guy who does the martial arts for Donatello. Ken Troom does Raphael's martial arts. That Michelin Sisti does Leonardo, and it's awesome. Like they actually do the martial arts in the suits really well. Like these are better martial arts sequences than you got in like a Canon movie. And those dudes weren't hampered by the fact that they were wearing, 40 pounds of wet, stinking Jim Henson puppet, smelling like foot sweat and Lysol.
Wet stinking Jim Henson puppet.
Yes.
Next name of my emo band.
I was gonna say it's such a good punk band. Foot Sweat and Lysol is the first album. So, or that sounds like a bowling. That sounds like a Bowling for Soup song.
The first album's not going to be coming out of our shells too. Back into our shells.
You could, back to the shell. How is that never one of the sequel names of this franchise, by the way? But
well, because if you've got the pun for Turtles in Time there for number 3, you're going to take it.
Yeah, or you're going to love the shell out of this movie.
Sans penicillin. Title track.
There you go. No, that's
so good. It's funny. One of the things we mentioned was it felt like the Turtles lived in an abandoned subway line, and that was actually where they got their inspiration and did some of their set design. The production designers went down into an abandoned subway line in Brooklyn, and that's where they got their. That's how they came up with all the look of the thing because they weren't allowed to go into the actual sewers.
I heard that was the weirdest field trip. That's so cool. I wonder if they brought sandwiches.
Maybe they brought pizza.
Yeah, you say I think the move is to bring pizza. So, do you imagine the people on this set were so tired of Domino's pizza by the end of this? They got supplied. Like that was part of the marketing and licensing deal. Was like we'll do part of the catering or whatever.
Well, here's the thing. So Domino's was the pizza that bought into the product placement. the marketing campaign was Pizza Hut.
Really?
Oh, I am
Because
so
I-
glad you brought that up,
Because
Ron.
I remember going to Pizza Hut and seeing the Ninja Turtles everywhere. They even had like some of the arcade cabinets back when Pizza Hut was a place where you could sit down and have a pizza
We
and
still
pizza.
have one. There's
Yep.
one here in
Salad bar.
North Carolina right now that I can go and do that at.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
Doesn't have cabinets in it, but you can go sit down in it.
if the food didn't suck now, I would definitely be interested in that. But the last time I went, I was sick for like 2 days.
I went and survived the sickness, but I was not impressed with the piece of cardboard and cheese that I ate. But
Wow.
so yeah.
So when we watched this, we got Domino's, and I even said, I think the pizza they eat in the movie is actually Pizza Hut, but Domino's is closer, so we'll get Domino's for the whole experience. And then the second the movie started, you see the Domino's pizza box.
Yep.
and
And
I truly believe in my mind, I was like, no, Pizza Hut's the pizza of the Ninja Turtles
Well,
because
as it
of all
turns
of the
out,
marketing.
Pizza Hut was the pizza of the Ninja Turtles, but
wow, they got snaked.
Domino's was the pizza of the movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Because I
Yep.
remember like every Saturday getting a personal pan pizza because I read my 5 books for Book It.
yes,
So I'd get my
sir.
personal pan pizza and I would
Yeah,
sit
all
there and
little
eat it while
stickers.
watching the Ninja Turtles.
I remember the first time I saw one of those personal pan pizzas, I was in college. We got it at the food court, and it was
Whoa.
like the first story I wrote for the campus paper was how big of a deal that was.
Wow.
I
I
remember
worked at Pizza Hut in college.
No, did not know this.
I did. I worked for Pizza Hut and Papa John's.
Ooh.
I know.
You've done,
And
wow.
those were this is so ridiculous. I realize now that I'm saying it, but I had 3 jobs. So I worked at a sports bar bartending, and then I worked at a Pizza Hut and also a Papa John's.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Just a little bit, but the Pizza Hut was the fun one. That's where all the theater majors worked, was at the Pizza Hut.
Oh, I
So
imagine in my head, I'm just imagining like this musical scene breaking out while y'all are all making pizza or whatever.
we would just make up stupid games. I mean, we had a
Right.
blast working there, but that's the whole
Right.
reason I started working there to begin with, was because all my friends worked there.
Now,
So
Lindsay,
Right.
was that still one of the Pizza Huts where you had like draft beer or no?
no, it was just like it was a takeout Pizza
Yeah,
Hut.
so it was just like a Delco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, it was sad. I mean, full service, we had 2 very tiny tables. I grew up with a legit Pizza Hut with the buffet.
Same. Yeah, it was a big
Oh
deal.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the red
those were
cups
big.
and the stained glass lampshades.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep,
And that
those are the ones.
the cabinet we had for a long time, and the one in Florence Ron had Dragon Slayer on it. Remember that
Ooh,
friggin' impossible
nice.
game?
Nice.
Oh
So,
God.
so the cabinet at my Pizza Hut, it was one of those sit-down cocktail cabinets,
Oh, nice.
and it was Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So
Remember
you
those?
could pick between the two.
Yeah.
And
We
it was the
had-
tabletop, so you could put your food, your plate, and your cup
Mhm.
right there, and you could eat while playing Pac-Man.
Oh,
Just
that's
get
awesome.
grease on decades of grease all over your
Speaking of
hand.
nasty things that Lysol will not fix.
I
That
just feel so validated that Pizza Hut was the pizza of the Ninja Turtles, because that's truly what I remembered.
I now like want to go back though and study how Domino's snaked them on this movie though, because that's a marketing story. That's
Yeah.
I want to
That's
know
great.
because that feels like something like one of my comm studies classes I could have like done a paper on or something in college. So at one point along the way, but no.
And apparently, here recently, they had the Ninja, probably for those Michael Bay movies, the Ninja Turtles were back with Pizza Hut, and they had a mutagen ranch drizzled pizza.
Yeah, but
Pizza drizzled with green.
all the
Bullshit.
green ooze tie-in stuff, man.
I
just-
mean, come on, just put it in Troll 2 and be done with
I
it.
mean, right? They're not karate chopping me. Oh my god!
Another great movie.
Yes, another great thing in our archives just to go relive someday, people. So, Troll
Not my
2.
Roman Empire, but I think about it regularly.
I probably think about that movie way too much.
So it's not
Anyway.
your Roman Empire, but it's like the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
Ottoman. It's your World War one. When
Let's
you
call
get
it my Roanoke.
There you go.
There we go.
I like it. Very good.
So let's get to some final thoughts here and some popcorn ratings. Jay, I'm going to pick on you first again because this was your first viewing and I'm so proud. What did you think? Popcorn ratings.
I
Any
had a
recommendations?
I had a really good time with this. I'm glad that I finally can check it off the old list, you know. Um, it also like I sat and thought about it. I was like, okay, why did that dismiss me? And I was like, it's just sort of where I was as an age and stuff like that. I can see that. But I still had a good time with it, and it's a lot of fun, and it's even beyond nostalgia, which this podcast has been full of, obviously. But I think even beyond that, just the artistry of this and what they were able to pull off, it's a blast and it doesn't waste any time. And so it's an easy large popcorn for me. I had a good time with it. It's definitely something I would go back and revisit. And I'm curious to, even if we never do them on the shows, to just kind of go a little further in the cinematic universe. Like I'm sort of curious where some of the other iterations and remakes of this have taken this and how different they are. But yeah, this first one's really strong. So large popcorn for me.
Awesome. Ron.
I'm going to join Jay in that large popcorn. Like, this held up way better than I could have reasonably expected. Um, the martial arts were still really good. Like, it was as much fun as I had imagined it as a child. So that was cool. It was neat seeing some of the, Skeet Ulrich and Sam Rockwell and some of the random like people who would go on to be names there as like Foot Clan members. It moves super fast. They shoehorn in a lot of action, which is nice. Like they don't let you go too long without somebody doing some martial arts and cool, or the turtles making some kind of ridiculous joke. So yeah, I was very happy on this rewatch, and I've not come back to this movie in 25 years or something. So like I'm thrilled. Like I think the last time I watched this was before I was going to watch Turtles 3. So that should tell you how long it's been. And yeah, I'm glad we were able to come back to this, and I had a blast. So yeah, large popcorn. Lindsay, what do you think?
Yay! I'm so glad. When I went to look for this on the streaming services that we subscribe to, it was not on any of them. But luckily, I own this on DVD. So I popped that bad boy in. Yeah, DVD, not Blu-ray. So it felt like I was watching it the way it was meant to be
It's a
watched.
straight VHS transfer onto that DVD, I guarantee
It really looked like it too.
I'm sure it did.
I wasn't disappointed. I'm never disappointed in this movie. I love this movie. I'm going to give it a large popcorn too, but with all the good stuff, the butter and salt, the butter that goes all the way to the bottom. Ron, I know you like to throw in some M&Ms and peanuts and think, if I'm not mistaken. Um, that's not my jam, but if it's yours, I'll do it in solidarity. But I really get so much joy out of this movie, and I will I will leave you with one thought as I wrap this up, which is, if you haven't seen it, definitely give it a watch. If you're not used to this type of real puppetry, it might be different, but it's just remember how much work goes into it. It's so impressive. And I'm going to try to do my best California voice here, but I need to leave you all with this one very special quote from the movie, which didn't come up while we were discussing it, but that is: wise men say forgiveness is divine, but never pay a full price for late pizza.
Well done.
Thanks.
Well, now, but we're not done hanging out in the sewers, are we, Ron? We got something else going this month? This is sewer month, unofficially.
Yes, this is Sewer Monster Month, Jay, and
Woo!
our next movie is going to be a classic of the sewer monster genre, such as it is Alligator. See, that's the problem. I can't remember. I want to Yeah,
Gator is the Burt Reynolds.
Gator is the Burt Reynolds thing, right?
Very
and Gator
sweaty
Bait,
swamp movie.
and Gator Bait is the sweatier, boobier
Yes,
red
amazingly.
exploitation classic.
Yeah.
That feels like more our speed, but go on.
I know. Alligator is a Jaws knockoff.
Okay.
It's actually a Piranha knockoff, which is a Jaws knockoff. So
Okay.
yeah, we're third generation. It's Trickster is what this is to Motley Crue. That's what Alligator
Okay.
is.
Wow. Oh, so yeah, that's going to be exciting. I've never seen that one before, and I love those kind of trashy sub Jaws monster movies. So
You're in
I'm
for a
excited.
treat. I can't wait for the JPT. I've already got it done. I can't wait to read that to you because, oh yeah, when you see who's in it, you'll know exactly where I'm going to go with it. But yeah, so.
So exciting. Well, tune in next time for our Sewer Monsters follow-up. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media at Filmstrip Pod, where we share announcements about upcoming shows as well as other fun content. And don't forget to subscribe and share the show. Bonus points if you leave us a positive review. It helps other people find our podcast, and it makes us feel really good about ourselves. Until next time, thanks for listening to Filmstrip.
Thank you for listening to Filmstrip. You can find more episodes on our website, filmstrippodcast.com. The Filmstrip theme music is produced and performed by Frozen Lake 121. All content used or discussed in these podcast episodes is the property of the respective owners and used under the Fair Use Act, Section 504, C2, Title 17.